Yo, what is up guys, CK here, and today I'm going to be doing a new video in a new series that I'm going to be trying out, which is where I take multiplayer game trailers and break them down, kind of explain what they've done, why they've done it, what's good about it, what they could have maybe changed, and how I've done the same things. So this is really a really good resource for those that are wanting to learn about like scene capturing, gameplay capturing, like Fortnite creative trailers or multiplayer trailers for any sort of game. It's going to give you a bit of insight of what I know, what the guys over at Darkburn know that work on these Apex trailers, because I take a lot of inspiration from them, and so obviously we do a lot of similar things. So I just thought this would be a good chance to explain some stuff and get some ideas out there. Let me know if you find this helpful. Leave a comment, leave a like. Let me know if you like it and you find it helpful, so I'll maybe do it again in the future. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So I'm not really going to talk about this opening sequence much. It's literally just an establishing shot. It shows the map and then how the map's changed. They've done stuff like it before in like season 2.
Transportation, security, and now introducing our advanced development in energy production and distribution.
Shows the main like point of interest, which is this, mining facility.
Here at Hammond Robotics, the people of the Outlands are our #1 priority.
Showing off some skins. Yep, nice skin shots. Sets the theme for the lore, is that main opening point. Then we introduce the main new character. We're gliding in with 3 people, nice composition. Then shows the main POI, which is this big thing here, and we're about to land down here. So yeah, I'm trying to get used to these keybinds. There we go. So he glides in, have a funky cinematic, pieced together with a nice little double kill. So the main notes here, the reason they've done this, as I say, it shows POI, he glides in, it's nice. You got one of the other guys down here, which is always nice, and then we've got this sequence where he lands on the ramp, and I would have personally liked to have seen it all be a POV shot where he slides in. As soon as it hits the bottom of the ramp, he starts shooting at this guy over here. However, that's obviously not going to be the case with this, where it has this kind of funky cinematic, which I personally aren't a huge fan of, but I'm sure there's reasons that they've done it. But what I would have done, personally, is I'd have had a camera here, kind of like focusing this way, like, so it focuses and gets this background over in this corner, and it gets like this side of the character. What that would do much better is that would sell the background, which is the center of the mining field. Instead, we're just seeing this like kind of like wall, this kind of like with a few like canisters or whatever. So it doesn't really sell much of the background, because you want to sell the character, but you also want to sell the environment. The argument could be that yes, the main focus is on the character, but I also think if I delete this, if I go back, this whole movement is kind of, it's not jarring, but it kind of is a little confusing. I think it would have been a lot more simpler if they had the camera, as I say, over here, pointing this way. Or they could have had a camera here pointing upwards and he slides into the camera, just like this, as he's about to. They've done that before and it works charm. And the main reason they've even done this, not only does it cut up the clip quite nicely, the fact is when he's doing this gliding, this will have been one take, because it's quite hard to get this right, this positioning right, where everyone's coming in at the same time and landing in smoothly with the right trajectory. So this is one shot. Now, if you notice, he's at the bottom of the ramp here, but by the time he kills him, he's already at this bin. So if we go on to the next clip, if we go back, you can see the bin is all the way over here. So what would have happened if it was one POV, one clip? You'd have seen him glide all the way down here, and that's just too long. Especially when it comes to like the song's beats, it's too stale for the style that they are going for. Sometimes Fortnite trailers can be a little bit more forgiving when it comes to long clips like that, but still, one solid slide is going to look a bit like slow and not very high octane, high action that they're going for. So I totally understand that they've put a cinematic in to split it, and that's obviously a really good way to do so. Let's say I'd have put my camera here, cinematic, boom, slides past the camera, cut straight into the POV of him killing. It would also have been a little bit nicer if we could have had him a little bit closer. He's very small over there, so maybe have him like here somewhere, or just somewhere around this area, so he's a bit more of a focus. But again, I kind of understand it just kind of works, because again, in this movement transition, it is a straight line, even though I can't draw straight lines, to this guy up here, which is obviously the next main kill. And that's great. Obviously, huge tip if you don't know this already, you basically want all of your people that you're shooting and going to be killing basically on half health, quarter health, so they're a one-shot kill, so you're not there, you don't finally get that successful hit, you know, you get that one take amazing sequence, and then you don't kill them. With this, it doesn't really matter, I guess, because it looks like, yeah, he hits it, you see the blood splatter, and then it cuts straight off it. But if you actually want to live out the death and kind of like carry on with the scene or whatever, you need to make sure they die, and setting them to like a lower health just guarantees that and makes it a lot more cleaner when it comes to trailers, because you don't want to be shooting at someone for like 10-20 seconds, you know, that's sometimes half the trailer. Nice standard shot. So this stuff is nice, showing cosmetics. Also is the establishing shot kind of for the next scene, which is this, which is again very nice. It's confused a lot of people though, as this scene. So what's happened with this scene is this gun, everyone's like, holy crap, is this a new gun? Because it does look like basically a standard weapon with no camo. So I feel like that isn't a huge great choice on the art direction, but what can you do? These things happen. There's, you know, parts of trailers I've made before and people have been a little bit confused about, is this a new thing or is this, and it's basically just, it's a skin or whatever, because it does sound like an R301, so I'm pretty sure it's an R301, but it isn't portrayed as well, because it doesn't look like an R301, and it looks like a new default weapon. And they give it so much justice. It's not just in the trailer for like a few seconds, it's literally like a whole scene, or nearly two scenes. But what is really good about this scene is this movement. So when you're designing a scene and you're trying to think of how to piece together a bunch of kills, because basically is a multiplayer trailer is fluidly putting one kill to another kill, to some explosions, to some actions, to some abilities, whatever, and you're normally limited to like 2 or 3 things in one scene. So I've got a very believable Pathfinder here on his Pathfinder rope or grapple, or whatever you want to call it, and then he's moving along, and so the POV just here is following that exact movement. It's very clean, one solid movement. You see an ultimate come out, adds a little variation, and that also already sets up for the next part of the scene, and you're straight away aiming at the next guy, which is just over here, and you basically just shoot him down. So I will do a lot of similar things in my shots where you're trying to keep things as smooth as possible. Also, you've got these guys filling up the left side of the screen, which is nice, and obviously, as I say, you've got this whole ultimate going on, so you don't need to worry about filling this space too much. You've got this cool environment in the background, so it speaks for itself. Awesome. Then it shows the ultimate, and I think this is actually kind of new. I don't know, I didn't know if it Watson's the generator actually did this. It actually blocked Gibraltar's ultimate, but apparently it does, so that's cool. If that's new, then again that demonstrates it. One other thing to note here is composition nice. You got these people filling here, you got this filling the right side. You've got Watson in the foreground, which is the main focus of the skin, and that is the main point of this whole scene. One thing you will also notice, the camera is about at this line. You always want to keep the camera below the waistline. Not the waistline, the chest line, sorry. This is going to make the character look like a bit of like an upside down triangle and fill more of the framing. It makes them look a lot more powerful, a lot stronger. If you had it the opposite way, he'd look like kind of like this and puny and kind of weak and like, I'm gonna die sort of thing. So it's always a good thing to keep in mind. Cool tip, it's just a rule when it comes to this stuff. Again, super cool composition here. You've got explosion going on in the background. I would sometimes do the same thing, showing off the main focus, which is this totem ability. You got a cool animation. Oh, my voice is going. Got a bit of environment in the background, nice lighting. I think this season has got some very nice like bloom and fog going on, so that's super cool. But the main thing with this scene is that it's showing the ability. It's showing his abilities. Super nice POV. I would have done the exact same. A cool thing here is you can see Pathfinder in the background by this explosion that's just coming into the frame here, and he does come into the frame a little bit more, but we'll worry about showing that. So he is at the front. Revenant is at the front right now, and then when it cuts to his POV, it's very important that this triangle formation happens. So you've got the POV, which is here at the back, and you have another person and another person. Having them in front in this triangle formation is very important, because obviously you want to show them. You want to show it's a team game, so you're going to be showing the two teammates, right? You don't want them behind. You're just not going to see them. You're just not going to see anything that they do. The best thing about this scene, though, is the way it moves and the way it shows multiple things in one simple movement. So you've got them walking through this tome, which sends them into shadow form, right? They touch it, and then you basically do the same. You follow, you get this effect. Oh yeah, okay, very obvious. Octane uses his jump pad, and watch as the camera follows him up really quickly. So it follows him up, and then he gets shot right here. So this already explains kind of like, okay, he's in this shadow form. He's basically being one hit. Now the one hit isn't 100% confirmed. You know, this could be just for the trailer, but basically the idea is like he's just vanished. He's just died, right? What has happened? Now I feel like a better thing would have to had here in the editing, having like a voice cue, say like, you know, Octane saying, you know, I'm down, or Revenant saying only two of us left. That would have explained this a little bit better, because some people have been a little bit confused from what I've seen. So I have seen some trailer reactions. I find it always interesting to watch trailer reactions, and it helps you learn about what people do and don't understand in game trailers. So again, would have been cool to have a voice cue of Revenants, you know, acknowledging that there's only two people left alive, or that, you know, one guy's like, Octane says, you know, just give me a minute, I need to heal, or whatever, and that would assume there are possible leaks of the Apex trailer, or of Revenant's abilities, where you go in this totem form, you die because you have lower health, and then you spawn at 20 health, so that whole, oh, just give me a minute, he needs to heal back up, and then you can help them in the fight, right? But the main thing that I'm carrying on and kind of detoured from, the camera, the POV, so what we're looking at, our perspective, it's like a nice movement up, right? It shows the Octane getting killed, boom. Where is that gone? It's gone kind of opaque, I don't know why. There we go. But also, in this movement, it shows the enemies up here. And, even better, it also sets up for him showing off his tactical ability. So he's aiming for his projectile. So basically what you've done is you've explained 3 things, maybe even 4. The whole totem, someone getting killed from the totem, showing the enemies where they are, like focusing them, and also setting up the projectile of the ability, whilst also keeping your teammate in focus. Not in focus, but in frame. And then boom, you get this nice cinematic of this. This is quite quick cinematic, and a lot of people again are quite confused by it. It looks to me like it's some sort of stun ability. You can see like this electricity charge, so it looks like some sort of stun. I'm not too sure. Again, it's hard to really comment on this because I don't know exactly what the ability does, but it does look like it's slowing them a little bit if you really look into it. Another really nice one is what I'll do a lot of the time. You got Pathfinder coming in, and you got Revenant coming up, and they're basically coming towards the same point where the camera can focus. So they basically cross paths, and that leads you straight into the next position. You're focusing. Your POV is now exactly where the camera was like focusing on, and it flows straight into the next scene beautifully. And this will have all been done, you know, separately. Like for example, this throw, this here is totally separate. This probably had multiple attempts and have been stitched together, because to get this kind of Pathfinder coming across the screen like this at the right timing of him, where it's kind of nice, it would have taken a few tries to get right, in my opinion. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you just work with what you've got. But yeah, I do feel like it would have been pieced together. Nice. That's just from the game. It's just the finisher. You got some, again, just some establishing shots of the map changes. You know, you've got a bunch of action, which is good, filling up shots. You know, bunch of people. Bullet trails are a huge way to basically eliminate empty spaces, so they're really using that to the advantage. That's awesome. This, again, I would have changed the camera position. So what happens is, I just let it play out for a second. So when I first watched this, I didn't actually understand or kind of like register what was going on. So basically you have 2 teammates over here that are running off. They're like, yo, yeet, we're off down here. And I didn't even, like, it is quite quick. I know there's this here where it focuses on it, and then you got this cool camera movement. But what I would have done again, I would have had the camera over here pointing this way. And so what happens is, you could have the if you change the colour, we could have had these 2 people, which are green, run past the camera, past their teammate, maybe that's just like lurking around here. They run, you see them from this camera angle here, jump over the edge, which then this camera here could maybe pan to the right a tiny bit, and then this guy that we're watching the POV walks into that frame a little bit. So you've basically got, if I move forward, you basically got this frame, but on the opposite side. And again, what that's doing, that is showing off this nice kind of like creek that we've got over here, this kind of like bridge area. At the minute, it looks like it isn't really a bridge in the background over here. You've got some rocks, and what you would be doing is you would be keeping it all on one side if you had the camera over here, like so. And I've done this again, god damn it. If you kept the camera over here, well actually it'd be over here, sort of thing. You get what I'm going for. It's all on one side, and it's a lot more understandable. Right now, we're having the camera over here, and we're moving the camera from this view to this view, and it's like a weird movement, and it's kind of jarring. It's like, you know, it goes this way. That's the way it goes. So the camera moves like that. And as cool as that looks, some people don't read it too well. So one thing to keep in mind. But this is cool. I'd have done the exact same POV. This is good, walking up to him and then turns to them. So by having the camera on the right side over here, you know, behind, looking this way, again, it keeps everything, keeps this big background over here, keeps these on the left side of the screen at all times, which makes it so much more readable. But still, cool scene, I like it. Again, super cool animation on this new weapon. One thing here that I would say, that's literally all I'll say. So if you notice, it's a POV. Now this may or may not actually be a POV. This could be a sniper overlay, and it's actually a cinematic that they've faked to look like, you know, like looking through a sniper. So it's actually like a camera that's just moving in like a kind of human fashion. And the main thing you'll notice here, there's a cinematic in between this and basically the same shot. So you got this little cinematic here has stitched the two together. So when he clicks the trigger, obviously makes sense with the beat. But if you look how, if I try and very closely, so this is his outline right now. If I go back, I go here. It's close. I don't know if you saw that line up just then. You see what I'm getting at? The shot before is not perfectly in line with the other guy. So what they've done is they've used this other shot of the trigger to help ease the transition between what makes a good bullet like zoom shot. So what they've done is they've added a bit of camera rotation, so as you'll notice, like it's a little bit tilted. He's like not straight, like before he was like that. Now he's going at this like angle. So they've added in this rotation, and so when when he gets closer to him, it's gonna rotate like so, like to fake like a bullet rotation, and straight into him. So that's one sort of thing. Also, you'll notice this is obviously moving real time. But you can actually see here this bullet trail here is completely stopped. It doesn't move at all. So they've actually frozen time to get this shot to keep him, you know, centered, and managed to actually like move straight directly into his chest because they know exactly where he's going to be. So they basically, what would happen is, and I'll throw in a little edit here where you can see how these two cinematics would have looked, like the POV going straight into like the bullet zoom. You can just kind of see for a split second that there's some little mishap, like you can see where the focus is on the character, especially because of his contrast, and it jumps into the bullet zoom and it just doesn't pay off as nicely. So it's always something to keep in mind when you're trying to create like cool like bullet zooms or shots that are done afterwards on another take, but they're meant to look like they're not done on another take. Piecing them together with a little cinematic in between is basically the medicine for that, the remedy. Just gonna comment on this. Super nice. Love the use of shot and impact into another scene. I do it a lot of the time as well. Nice. I think this scene here is great. You get one guy, camera focuses on two, straight into a POV. This whole little ramp, the ramp is like a building that's fallen over that they're sliding down. This could have very well been just like a cool environment that they thought, this is cool, let's have sliding. When I do my Fortnite trailers, I wish that there's sliding and stuff for more mobility and more like smooth, cool movement. There just really isn't any of that in Fortnite, especially without any like launch pads and stuff. But this will be the case. It's a nice scene, a nice environment, a nice use of mobility to like just get a cool looking scene together basically. And then they basically just again done the exact same what they did before. They've got a pathfinder and someone else using their zip line, and it guides the view onto a next scene. They follow that, boom, straight onto them. Going past the camera is always nice. And then you've got again, this is a pretty standard scene, looks awesome. Again, love this impact into the explosion. I do similar things. I'll actually throw it up now, really quickly, so you can see. What's cool here is, again, you've got some focus, you've got some extra bit of screen time for our main boy, the Revenant. But what I would say is, the main thing I can really comment on this is, it's hard to see because it's so pixelated. I've downloaded it in like 720p. You can see these bullet trails here, and there was some here. One of the main things that you need to always fight when you're making these scenes is how to make the frames not feel empty. So by having people shoot at either your right or your left instantly helps make these two columns feel a little bit more action and a little less empty. Also, you've obviously got the top area up here, which looks kind of nice. Looks, yeah, you know, you've got an environment there. What I would say is, in fact, before we move on to that, I'm just going to throw up a clip. So basically, especially with Fortnite, right? If you imagine this in third person, you're basically like here, right? And so you've got this huge right side that's empty. So I will literally tell the person I'm shooting always to shoot on my right side to help make that right side look like it's got a little bit more action going on. Even if they're like over here, I'll tell them shoot across to my right side, because that's the space that needs it. The left side, where I am basically with my third person model, like hello with my gun, I don't really need anything here too much. It's mainly just this right side that really needs it. And so that's what they've done. They've had some guy like back here hiding or something, shooting this way to help with that. One thing I would say is this guy over here, it's very hard to see. It would be nice to see him on here or on here, maybe someone here. Actually, there is a guy. I've actually only just noticed that. There is a guy just here. Again, it's very hard to see. I feel like maybe nice to have someone here, or someone more like here, like running at them, you know, like walking ADS, like slowly. It just makes them feel like they're being pressured a lot more inwards, you know, so they have to go into this exit. That's the only option. Right now it feels like they don't actually really need to go into this portal. But just, the main reason I'm saying this is right here. If I didn't highlight these guys, you probably would not be able to see them, especially with this pixelization. But the main reason is the contrast. He blends in to the background, and so does he. Having them here, if I just point, look how like contrasting. It'll even help if I change the color to like a blue. Look how, like, if I put a blue there, you can see it because it's so vibrant blue. But if I put a blue there, look how much more it stands up. Because this grass is so yellow, but we're not using it to like easily like show that there's people here. We're not using it to like, oh, here's someone. I can literally see that for half a second and understand that there's someone there, just because it stands out so much on the background colour. So yeah, I'd have repositioned a few people, but I also understand that sometimes with scenes like this, you basically tell the other people, like, yeah, let's have someone here. I don't know, just we'll go with the flow. The main focus is us. We're gonna do this try a few times. You guys just kind of like make yourself happy, make yourself so you're not feeling useless, and just shoot us this way, shoot us that way. Again, I'm being a bit picky, but it's all good things to keep in mind when it comes to doing it, because it is all about the study of showing things off, showing action, and if you want to take it seriously, then it's things just to keep in mind and think about when it comes to you directing a scene. Obviously this is really cool. They go into the portal, and the portal is obviously, this is like an illusion obviously, so portal, they cut to a full white, so you have no idea where this is. They could be anywhere right now. It doesn't really matter, and it transitions straight into another portal. Obviously this portal has been placed somewhere in this mining facility, It also helps actually. The mining facility is in the background just here. So because the background it already like subconsciously sets the environment to the point where it's like this is kind of believable that you've just somehow gone through this portal into this, into this area. But so this is like just a separate clip of them using a different portal, and boom, transition straight into another clip where he's sliding. I don't know if actually that. It's very possible this is also another separate clip, because this is another total flash to white, which is like an effect. You can either use exposure or brightness and contrast, or there's another one that I was told recently when I did this Fortnite Zone Wars trailer. But there's many ways to approach this. So it looks like he's sliding, boom. Cool little Mozambique double kill, again super clean, keeping people on low health, makes it satisfying. And then the focus goes onto this guy and it shows off the cool skins, and that's literally it. One thing I also forgot to mention is that for like shooter game trailers, like such a huge part of a successful scene, and it sounds so silly, but adding gun reloads in before a scene helps so much, and I've started to do it all the time now. Not only does it create like an excuse to like add more sound effects in and sync to the beat and make it feel more immersive, it also helps populate the scene. So imagine if he was walking into this portal, not doing anything, just with his his hands out, just like sticks, not doing anything, rubbish animation. Even some games like imagine when you're playing Wraith and you don't have the kunai, which is the knife. When you're running, you hardly see your hands, are like in these little corners. But when you have the kunai knife, your hands are out here, going across the screen. You've got this cool knife here with this cool animation that flips about and stuff. And so you're basically showing off animations, right? If you're going to put work into animations, you've got cool animations in the game. Show them off with reloads. Bang, bang, yeah, okay. And it also sets up for reloading the gun. Boom, comes out with the Mozambique. You'll see it, there's probably multiple times this happens in the trailer. Not there because it doesn't need to be there because it's focusing on the abilities. Well, I mean, you've got a reload here as well when he's coming up. Reload, boom. That's what delays the kill and also populates the scene a little bit. Reload here, of course, shows off the new weapon and reload. Right. Shoot, cool bolt animation, boom. Reload into the portal, kill, right? It just works. It's one of those things you kind of just don't question. Putting in reloads will make things seem so much more action packed. That's just a fact. So super awesome trailer. I think they've outdone themselves again in many ways. I love the song. They've always been great for song choice. I found out where they get a lot of their songs from, and I also pay to use the same. So some great scenes. Some hopefully you found this a little helpful. Some insight to what I think about when I'm directing my scenes, and kind of like the things you have to keep in mind when you're trying to sell a product, you're trying to sell a map, you're trying to sell a game mode, what you need to focus on promoting and showing off, right? But yeah, so let me know if this helped. I may do it again in the future, may not, we'll see how this does. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in another one.